This is a brief foreword before we get going. This is a podcast for Aeon of Dreams, and recently, one of my subscribers, I won't say who, has found the use of ad hominems on my channel to be distasteful. Aeon of Dreams, aka Peter, is a valued longtime member of this channel's podcast. I am making an artistic decision not to remove anything he says. So, this is a warning to the more delicate, dainty, docile, and demure fans I may yet still possess. You might want to turn this podcast the fuck off right now, as this podcast certainly has a copious amount of hypersexuality, profound boorish behavior, and an ample amount of name-dropping. The sort of behavior that's become synonymous with those hooligans at Limbo Podcast. If the impeccable dressed gentleman who expressed his distaste for my channel's choice ultimately chooses to leave, I'd like to thank him for his time, and he will be missed, as his thoughts and opinions are deeply valued and appreciated. Now enough about that, let us convert like the Greeks of old. You know the ones. Hey, how do I sound now?
You sound pretty good.
Okay.
How about me?
So, here I am.
And it's I know. We got an I know.
Alright.
Hey, I know.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wait.
Oh,
yeah,
boy.
I should probably do the intro. This is
Yep.
FNGR, followed by the following co-hosts. GoldenFox.
Yo.
KeyFrame.
Greetings.
I know Hisenshi.
What's up, bitches?
I literally had to stop myself 3 times in a row in introducing Aeon as a guest host because I'm so used to him being there. This week's King of Limbo, Aeon of Dreams.
Bow down before me, bitches. I have a right to your women before you marry them.
Wait, what? Anyways.
Great way to start.
Yeah.
10 out of 10.
I'll wait.
I'm an antiquated king, madam.
Alright. I'm going to show you the sketch he decided not to go with first. And I was like, oh, that's how I pictured it looking. And he's like, yeah, it didn't look right. And I was like, well, this is only black and white. And he's like, I might come back to it. Take a look at that.
Alright.
Alright, let's see this.
Whenever Opera loads.
403 Forbidden. This is quite an amazing sketch of a robot, though.
Really?
Yeah.
Alright, I'll just Gyazo it.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, we don't have permission, apparently.
I guess I'm really good friends with my artist. But anyways.
Love your straw.
Still loading on my end.
You're not gonna get it.
No.
It'll just be 403
Let's
full
do
pages.
this. Let's do this.
Let's see what this looks like.
Come on!
I don't quite get it.
Yeah.
Why must my computer be so slow?
Are you loading the Gaizo link or the Google user content link?
The Google
Okay, the
content
guy's
link.
the one.
And it's got a 4.3 error. Client does not have permission to get URL. Yeah, or...
Gaussian one works, but the other one doesn't.
Oh, wait. Here we go.
Okay, here is the good one.
Wait.
You look
Oh,
creepy
okay.
as shit in this, Peter. Holy God.
What is this, some kind of crystal ball thing?
Yep.
Yeah, I was like, okay, this is my idea. I think since, Aeon does, tarot card readings, it's like, draw them up like a gypsy. It'll kind of be sort of MLP.
Oh my god.
I don't know why you have a pink shirt.
Well, it looks like,
I'm enjoying this.
Yeah,
Rule
Oh, of course.
63,
I
Rule
mean-
63 me is a great diviner, apparently.
yeah.
wait, what is he getting a wing boner for?
I assume you're checking out Peter.
Well, yeah, or is he looking at that, or is he looking at the crystal ball? I mean,
Well,
Well, you enjoy
The crystal
ball-shaped
amplifies
things.
the image of the breasts.
Yeah,
I guess.
He's like, it didn't come out right. He's like, oh, that'll just work this way. And I was like,
Yeah, but babe, you just enjoy things that are orb-shaped.
Pretty much. And
There we go.
I'll put it this way. I know Hisenshi got a taste of his own medicine.
yeah, that was the joke. I was like, Jesus, how do I do this? And
I was
like,
fixing to say, so I guess this is payback.
Yeah,
that was
I
supposed to
enjoy
be.
this.
Yeah, you were supposed to have a word bubble going, oh, so that's what that feels like.
Also, he's wearing a purple
Yeah.
tank top.
You know what I was thinking, though? The person I actually like most in this picture is Key, just because of how well her reaction is drawn.
She's just cracking up.
That's probably would be my reaction.
The tears in the
I-
eyes are just like a perfect touch.
Oh, there it is.
I love it. I love it. Grey Cat's awesome.
Yes.
In honor of this Limbo cast, I am drinking that orange liqueur that you gave me at Bronycon, because I still have that.
I was having a breakdown, like the day beforehand, knowing I blew like $100 on alcohol, probably drank less than $20 of it, and I was like, I have to give it to someone. I'm not throwing this out.
Wait, Peter.
Yeah, so
Yes.
yeah, he said $20 and all of this is yours, and it was 2 cans and 2 bottles.
2 economy-sized bottles, I believe, weren't they?
On the on the wings
funny
of
story-
vodka, the archangel Peter came down from the heavens.
Funny story about that. Before this call started, I actually spiked one of these liqueur shots with some Svedka vodka. It actually didn't taste that bad. However, the Climax Moonshine almost killed me. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah. What was your high point at Bronycon 2015, Aeon?
High point. Yeah, I'm trying to narrow. Let me see if I can narrow that down, because there was just this one night where I believe it was like the second night where me, Sugary Violet, I believe Nikki V was there, Turquoise was there, Dylan, that circle. We were all just walking around the streets of Baltimore looking for a place to eat. I know it seems like a minor thing, but we're like walking down the dark areas, and it was cool because nothing totally happened. We were just hanging out, and it was pretty fun.
Yeah, those were that is Bronycon. As long as you have people to hang out with, it really is a magical experience. Well, here I'll ask the one that everybody thinks that Peter came up with. What do you find intellectually stimulating, Peter?
Intellectually stimulating. Well, I was about to go into some weird rant about the root of my own intellectualism, but then I'm just like, I don't know if they would go for that. I suppose I can answer with that. Is it okay if I answer with that?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
No, it's fine.
Okay, sweet. Well, originally I was kind of like, okay, well, I want to know more about something. It was like I want to know more about something deeper that seems to permeate everything, but I could never seem to find it. Because I started out with philosophy, because science is just only materialism and endless reactions. It doesn't tell me anything ontological or anything, and that's kind of what I was looking for. Then I wanted something more like supernatural, I suppose. So I went to mythology. And I just said, fuck it, let's go right to the source. Let's study this witchcraft shit. And before you know it, I'm reading Crowley.
Nice. What's a common misconception about you?
Often, pretty much anything having to do with my sexuality or sexual stuff in general. Like, people are surprised. Like, I think I, flabbergasted Toon Critic with this one time. I said, not only am I straight, but I'm also a virgin, and he's just like, no fucking way. And a lot of people seem surprised by that because of the way I act. They just assume it's a given that I'm like an omnisexual, if it moves and it has a hole, I'll find a way kind of guy.
I wasn't really surprised to hear that stuff. It's just sort of like, just because you talk about it and enjoy it doesn't mean you've actually done it.
Yeah. The funny part is that I tend to notice, like, in every circle of friends, there's always that sexual friend who's a virgin, and yet they know the most about sex technically, not experience-wise, but just technically, and everyone just assumes that they're experienced, and they're like, fucker, what are you talking about? I've never done this shit. You gotta fly or die on your own, buddy.
Okay, so, I know you kind of halfway answered this. I don't know if you could go any further into it, but why the interest in philosophy? Specifically,
philosophy is kind of like, I like studying like the sort of the roots of things. And the problem with science is that I don't have a problem with science because I do love science, but in terms of filling that little void I have of like understanding how reality works, understanding materialistic mechanics is fine, but it wasn't quite what I was looking for. I needed something more than that. I needed something sort of beyond that. That's where I got into metaphysics, then I looked at morality, and all that interesting stuff. And it makes the world seem, let's just say, a lot more amazing when you actually figure out the things like studying the logic of how things must operate and the conditions of that, the nature of existence, and various sorts of morality. It can lead you to some interesting conclusions, though, and I can explain this in a question if you want, because the answer is totally and completely roundabout. Like, it's not quite what you think it is. It's more like, you could almost say that studying all this leads you to nihilism and atheism, but not in the way that you'd actually think. I'm talking more like atheism in the sense of Terry Pratchett's atheism, and where he has these characters, these 3 well-known witch characters, and this is the kind of atheism I'm talking about. It's more of course witches are all atheists. You don't need to believe in God when you just see him all the time. It's about as irrelevant as, yeah, I know, right? It's about as irrelevant as saying I believe in the postman.
That's a really interesting way of saying it.
Yeah. So if I want to chill with Odin, I don't need to say, hey, dude, I only just believe in you. It's like, no, fucking Odin is chilling in my room, and I almost burnt something in the house, and he covered that shit up because he is a bro. Don't tell my parents that.
It took a while to get to the end there, but I did like the payoff.
I can be long-winded at times.
What is your favorite book and or writer?
Book and or writer. My favorite book and writer, the same thing, is Neil Gaiman, and my thus far favorite book by him is American Gods.
Is that about a Native American culture? Or?
It's an interesting look at. It's weird because it's almost like a case study of America, but of course because he's Neil Gaiman, he throws in supernatural elements. So it's all these entities and supernatural stuff, and each one of them, even the Native American stuff, is all brought over. And it was an interesting look at how America both has an identity and has no identity. To quote Mr. Wednesday, who is Odin, America really doesn't understand what it is. After all, no one really goes looking for the heart of Norway, for instance.
Did anyone surprise you at Bronycon? They were different than you imagined.
Different than I imagined, huh? I'm trying to think. Like, for the most part, not really. I know, like, the most surprising thing for some people was the way they looked versus how I imagined them looking, but nothing really too major beyond that. I did find that, like, some of the bigger names were actually more approachable than I thought they would be, such as Silverquill. I actually had quite a few interesting conversations with. I doubt he remembers them now, but... I will say, the past analysis looks more like Jeff Foxworthy than I previously thought.
It was
Can we tell him you said that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, I don't mind.
I thought it was weird hearing Pasta complain in person. I was just so used to it being some far-off, aloof voice off in a vacuum somewhere.
Well, wasn't he, like, bitching about me because, the night you first gave me the orange liquor, not gave it to me, but gave me, like, a shot of it. That was when we met Crowne Prince in person.
Well, no,
like,
no.
Fallen was in the bird was in the room. Wasn't he bitching about that? Bitching that you brought me to his room?
Yeah, he did bitch about that, but I meant, like, when he was complaining, when we blew off, like, Toon Critics Group because I was starving, and he refused to stop to let us eat. Pasta, like, followed me, and I needed somebody to show me where the hell I was going, so I could go back to the hotel afterwards. And I just remember him, like, randomly complaining about the Rift after we were eating, and I was like, this is just like Skype. I've paid over $1,000 to go listen to people complain like it's on Skype. I live in such a weird world.
Yeah, it's. I almost feel like he lives up to his own stereotype too much, but then again, so was I. I mean, I was doing some weird touchy-feely stuff in certain other groups, and I suppose that's what people would have expected me to do. Because another highlight...
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Another highlight at Bronycon was I met Fall Feathers and his fiancée was Sugary Violet, and they sort of had the same problem you did. Like, because Fall Feathers is Australian, and he couldn't take back all this alcohol, so they essentially handed me a Sam Adams Summerfest and an Angry Orchard and said, yeah, we bought too much, just take this. So we did that. We're laying in bed, and we're just doing, like, really intimate cuddles with each other. And it was actually really fun. His fiancée is really sweet, and apparently I also make a good pillow.
So, Peter, what
Yeah.
is, like, someone in the community you want to work with most, and vice versa, you would never want to work with even if someone paid you?
Ooh, that one's interesting. Work with most.
When you get to the negative one, I wanted to add on that. Someone you'd never want to work with. Let's make it someone famous, so there's at least the temptation of being there.
Oh, yeah. Like, that's totally what I'm thinking, because it would be pretty boring if I listed some obscure name.
Yeah.
Okay, someone I want to work with that no one knows, because I'm going to do 2 answers for someone I want to work with. Someone no one ever knows, and then someone everyone knows. Someone you don't know is actually my girlfriend. I'll just use her OC name. It's Kfun. She's the Icelandic one. Simply because we're both occultists, and we can probably have some really interesting themes, conversations, and she's a philosopher too, so, there's the mutual interest there, aside from, the general love interest.
I had a cute idea for that just now. You've seen The Never-Ending Story, right?
I have not.
There's 2 statues called the Oracles facing each other. If you could get your OCs, I'll eventually give you a picture of it, where, like, you're facing each other.
Ooh.
Oh, that sounds adorable.
Yeah.
That sounds cool.
Yeah.
I remember that
Indeed.
scene, by the way. And I was actually going to ask, because there's like 3 Never-Ending Story movies. So I wasn't quite sure which one you meant.
We're talking
The
about
good
the
one.
good one. Yes, thank
good
you.
one.
The only good
The
one.
good one.
Never-ending story.
What is it?
Yeah, no, I know.
Someone
Not the one with the
someone
singing
known.
rock.
Someone known.
Someone known. Who would it be?
I'm trying to. Okay, I need to. I need to think about this one because there are known people I would want to work with. Because I don't want to give like an obvious answer. Because there are people I quite want to work with. Like Silverquill, I could probably have something of an interesting conversation with, but that seems like too much of a generic answer. If you catch my drift.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's try and think of a more interesting answer here. Well, technically speaking, I'm already dialed in. If I want to do a collab with this guy, I pretty much just have to approach him. It would be CloudCuckooCountry.
Yeah.
But he already said, if you remember on the CR pub crawl, the little fun idea that me and him had.
I forget. There was a lot of drinking that night, right?
Yeah. There was a lot of drinking, and I remember you had like 2 tall glasses of blueberry moonshine. So if you can't remember this, I don't.
No, they
blame you.
ironically enough posted that one. That's the one I didn't want them to, and I was like, oh, nope, never mind, screw it. I just won't say anything because nobody wants to see it.
Yeah, well, me and Cloud wish to use our intellectual charisma to bullshit everyone in the analysis community. But he was already on board with that, and that's just like, so, yeah, aside from any generic answer, because there are quite a few I'd want to work with, it would probably be him.
How about the negative question? Someone well-known enough who's like, no.
Well, this is an interesting one. Hey, Fox, he has to be no, not some nobody.
Who did Fox write down?
He wrote down British.
Oh, damn it.
I see it. Oh,
British.
Well, I only said British.
No,
okay,
we know who
away,
it
British
is. It's
Brony.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know who it is. Most other people probably don't.
He's a bit
Most
more
people-
famous than you'd think. Infamous.
I know this is going to sound weird because this is only based on one experience. I was interested in working. Part of me almost wants to work with this guy again just to see if he's different. But my one experience with him was kind of I kind of put this. For this person, it would depend on what me and him would be doing, and it would probably be Dr. Wolf if it was for like another moment with Dr. Wolf. And the reason why is I know I'm probably going to get a lot of shit.
It's your show,
wait.
man.
Well, how do I put this? I know I'm going to get a lot of shit, but I'll say it anyway. That or my Teflon is going to totally protect me from this.
Look, you're on that no account FNGR's channel. He must have poisoned you or bribed you to say these things.
But hey, if it means anything, I have not taken my meds in forever, and I'm drinking, so
Good man.
I'll just be upfront with y'all.
Set up your
no.
walls while you can.
Yeah, maybe I'll finally get a hater someday.
I was about to say, Peter, I'm pretty sure I drove off all Dr. Wolf's followers on my channel, but go ahead.
Yeah, like, it's nothing against... I don't have too much against the guy in particular, but it's more like when we did our moment with Dr. Wolf, and you remember this is the one that Agents of Discord, before he thought he was Jesus, like, totally, he railed on my episode, and the thing I sort of had to point out was, we originally had a different script, and that script was less of a therapy visit and more of a conversation. Now, granted, I should have known beforehand, yeah, it's set up to be a therapy visit, but the end result sort of came out kind of lopsided because of that. I know Anthony, your circle pointed that out, that my video sort of came out kind of lopsided, where Dr. Wolf looked like he was playing the guy who was giving me assistance, but I was doing all the rationalizing by myself.
Yeah, you
and that was because I had
lifting, and I was like, what was he talking about? Peter helped him.
Yes, I'll let wicked vanity just course through me for a moment. Yeah, I'll say it.
Well, that was only a huge surprise when basically, I don't know, we sort of vaguely kind of bought into the stereotype about it. And I was like, oh, Peter just tromped Dr. Wolf. And I'm like looking at it now, I was like, of course he did.
Yeah, like I said, I don't have anything necessarily against the guy, but if it was for a project that was more like technical like that, probably not, just because, and don't take this the wrong way, I just feel like if I had some sort of point to make, it would have to sort of be dumbed down to, I don't know this point, and then I'd have to give it to Dr. Wolf for him to re-say it to me as though I never knew it to begin with. And part of me doesn't
sneak it around him underneath his nose.
Yeah, and part of me just kind of has a sour taste in my mouth for that.
Yeah, isn't that basically all the Shakespearean writers had to do back in the day to get in their subterfuge around the censors, more or less?
Well, I suppose it was, yeah, part of it was like that. Like, I know Shakespeare, he used paganism to get away with suicide. Like, you couldn't put suicide in a Christian story, but they're like, oh, wait, if it's pagan, then you can do it. And he's like, perfect.
Nice.
And suddenly he got a lot of pagan stories. And those stories are actually pretty damn cool. Like, I love Hamlet, Julius Caesar, and of course I study the occult side of him too, and that side of him is brilliant, but still.
Yeah. Is there anyone on YouTube you watch that you're not a big fan of, but you kind of like hate watch?
Hate watch.
Yeah, you're like, what the hell am I watching this? And you're like...
We're Who'd you say, Adam?
He doesn't want to go, I think.
Hello?
Oh, yeah.
I've just never heard the concept of hate watch. Like, why the hell am I watching this person? I don't like them.
I don't know. It's like watching them out of spite. But it's weird. It's weird. It's kind of like that.
I'll explain it to you like this. Back in the day, I think if you've ever seen the movie, it feels weird calling this back in the day because I remember it came out and it was new. There's a movie called Howard Stern's Private Parts, and they're talking about like there's so many people that watch him because they love him. What about everybody else? The other half watch him because they hate him. Why? You know, I guess in the morning, yeah, where you need something, vile and wicked to, kickstart your day. Use that nice sledgehammer in the face.
I'm trying to think about this question because someone I would hate watch is more or less somewhere I don't necessarily agree with their ideals.
But the performance is good.
Yeah, either the performance is good, or I'm just looking at this person saying like, I'm gonna catch you on a mess up, and I will use it to make a video reply, and I will crush you intellectually, sir.
Do you have anybody like that?
Well, the problem is that the closest answer I have isn't someone I necessarily hate, it's just someone I disagree with.
Oh, well, is there anyone you disagree watch with?
Let's just say I have, like, this isn't a rage thing, this is a philosophy thing. It's not, this is nothing personal, it's just a more, wait, this person is trying to argue philosophy, and they aren't doing it right. And so I, crack my intellectual knuckles. The only video response I want to do, and I don't, like I said, I don't hate the guy, but it is to Dr. Wolf for one particular comment he said in a video, and I'm just like, wait, he tried making a metaphysical statement, and he got it wrong. And I'm just like, you need correction, sir. That is my domain. You do not step into my domain and pretend you have authority in this domain, sir. I will best you in my dojo.
Well, the quick thing you would do at the beginning of one of your regular videos is going, just really quick here, I just wanted to correct this for you, so you're not embarrassed. Wink.
Do that in the middle of the comment section so everybody sees it.
What is it? To give you an idea, the thing he said was something like, are we living a fantasy? And I'm like, no. For us to be living in a fantasy, we would need our computers, because he used Bronycon, but that's the antithesis to his argument. The idea of referencing Bronycon actually is it's the direct counter to his own argument.
It's making a fantasy a reality because the thing is actually there.
Yeah, and on top of that, for it to be fantasy, for us to be talking right now, it couldn't be us. Our computers would have to be 100% autonomous, creating the reality, and just simply so much as having the input of turning the computer on means that your input was necessary for the existence of the reality which it has created. But that's even like if the computer was autonomous. The computer is not autonomous. We're talking right now, so it is reality.
But still, we're not physically together. We have to utilize technology in order to connect.
Yeah, but like when you get down to the basic bare bones idea of it, there's no fundamental difference in terms of interaction, because the parts of your brain that require interaction are actually satiated by talking on the internet, which is my counter to it being a fantasy.
Well, depending on who you talk to, I get a lot of people telling me that people I talk to aren't real because it's over the internet.
Well,
a lot of people, especially parents, will tell this to their kids now. So
that's because they're like scared-ass baby boomers watching Bill O'Reilly go fuck himself intellectually on TV. Talking about how internet weed and basic freedom are like killing off our generation and making us evil Satanists. And
I love seeing your mood swings, Peter. It's like, okay, gonna be careful. Nope, screw this. Nope.
Yeah, so rather than listen to those,
on my will save. Peter's going off the deep end now.
So rather than listen to those job-stealing baby boomers that are fucking over the Gen Xers and those Gen Yers who kind of think they understand Gen X but don't, I say go fuck yourself. Go to hell. This is reality now. Your shit doesn't work anymore. Would you kindly retire so I can get a fucking job?
So, Pete, so is there something about how the show uses magic and mythology or something that intrigues you or kind of makes you grind your teeth because of how much you read up on this stuff in real life, or something that you're surprised that they bring up in the show or something?
There are times where I will be surprised. There was a headcanon, and it is probably my favorite headcanon of the show, is that Equistria is related to, in a sense, this world of mythology, because it keeps giving direct references to these mythologies, almost as though Celestia and Luna, if you wish to do the deity comparison, not to become the edgelord again, the edgelord of Anthony's video. Anthony, I do love you.
You were the one person on that whole list I asked permission to hit.
No, dude, I love you for hitting me, because any publicity is good publicity, but that's beside the point.
Well, you were bragging as like, I'm beyond approach, and I'm like, this has gone on long enough.
Yes, I'm so beyond approach that someone did it not because they had a genuine reason, they had to spite it.
Yes.
That makes me amazing, motherfucker. But anyway, yes, to answer your question, KeyFrame, I do love that they use mythology, and I do love sort of the ways that they implement it. Usually if there's something, and this, I see this in quite a few stories that use sort of magic, they tend to use mythological, sometimes occult references without knowing it, because occultists were the ones who essentially started writing. That's what mythology originally was. It was occultists giving each other lessons and teaching things. And we just use that for writing, and a lot of writers don't even know what they're using most of the time. But it can lead to pretty interesting things. The minor stuff, though, it's usually like nitpicky stuff. Like, for instance, this is just to name one thing, and like I said, it's a nitpick. The alicorn amulet, not to go into occultist nerd right now, but amulets are used to draw, to like repel things away from you. A talisman draws things into you. So technically, it's a talisman.
Nice. Peter, what do you consider a financial indulgence? Something you buy that's probably not worth it, but you enjoy it a lot.
Food, even though I have food. Porn, even though I only watch it once. Because I can't find it on the Pirate Bay for some reason. Or at least I can't find the particular kind I want on the Pirate Bay, so I buy it, watch it once, and then just never watch it again. And it's even more wasteful because I go into Skype calls where we turn on webcams and shit, and I'm in groups like that, and I'm just like, wait, why did I pay for this again? Then I just sort of shrug and then just be like, I've got expendable income, whatever.
All right, I have a question.
Certainly.
Go ahead.
Okay, I think you may have already answered this question in a way, but I'm just going to be blunt. Why is Halloween your favorite holiday?
Oh, yes. Love Halloween. There's like the surface thing where it's just like, imagine it's the holiday comparison of meeting your summit girl. Like, it's like it ticks off every little box just intuitively, and you don't really need to compromise that much on what you like about this person, because what you already like is already there, and you don't need to negotiate for it. And that's kind of, in a relationship sense, I mean, because sometimes, compromises have to be made for differences. But this is that person, this is kind of like that person you meet, where there doesn't need to be a compromise because you just fit into each other so well. And I mean that in two ways, but that's beside the point. Halloween, it's like, I love the surface, like, celebration of this sort of strange, supernatural, not maybe dark side, but that's celebrated too. Like the dead and the supernatural. I love all the themes, like graveyards, jack-o'-lanterns. And then there's my inner paganism talking, where my matron goddess, the Morrigan, the holiday was essentially invented for her, so my queen gets a night to herself. My wondrous dark goddess of the Emerald Isle gets a holiday to herself, and I don't know, it's just everything about it, because death as a concept just completely fascinates me. And it's to the point where, like, I get like this really serene, relaxed feeling if I just walk through a cemetery, for instance.
Can you explain why it kind of has that kind of connection, at least to the concept of death, even if experiencing it isn't what you're necessarily going for?
There's something about death, and I kicked my suicide ideation, thankfully. Here's hoping it doesn't come back. But even then, there's something about the idea of death and ideas of how it works and what it does that part of it, like, completely fascinates me, and there's another part of it I find romantic in this sort of poetic way, like what it means, different ways it can be done or invoked, like, say, the poetic way, where you're not physically dead, but something has broken you to the point where you may as well be, or physically dying while doing something heroic, for instance. For a more poetic reason, take the end of Norse mythology, where you have fights where, like, two legendary entities just get into a fight and they kill each other. There's something romantic about that, for instance, or just as simple as walking through a cemetery, you wonder, like, if you could just do a little necromancy, like, what stories could they tell, and, like, what's the history of this entire place, and all that stuff, and, I don't know, there's just something relaxing about the idea of a kind of ending that ends things as you know it.
If I could add another question about Halloween, have you or how much have you studied the origins of Halloween, like where it all came from?
Yeah, I know that, because, like I said, my matron goddess, who's the Morrigan, the holiday was, in part, it wasn't, like, totally invented to honor her, but she is one of the main deities honored on that day, or so I've heard before. It was originally an Irish Celtic holiday named Samhain, not Samhain, it's Samhain.
Right.
And it was this Celtic festival where, like, it's kind of weird because universally it seems like unless this was something that was appropriated into them, like every pagan tradition or every magic tradition seems to acknowledge that around that time of year the veils between the worlds are really thin. So it was believed that the ancestors and the Sidae, or fairies of Ireland, they would wander about, and that's why you would wear the costume to disguise yourself from these supernatural entities, and you'd leave offerings at the door for them. So in hopes that, like, nothing bad that would happen to you and all that. It harkens back to a more spiritual
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying it harkens back to like this really interesting spiritualism.
Right. Something tells me that I don't know. It just reminds me of Nightmare Night again when you saw how how that holiday followed in Luna Eclipse, that they had to disguise themselves to hide from Nightmare Night so that she wouldn't, gobble your soul and such.
Yeah, like
that's actually why they converted it slightly, because they dug into pretty much what the original concept of Samhain was.
Yeah, I actually pointed that out in a long forgotten video. It was when I was still using Pony Creator, to give you an idea. But yeah, I compared it to
The blasphemy.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, your Pony Creator OC wasn't that bad, Peter.
Oh yeah. It was actually designed by Nightsphere, who has been tragically MIA ever since I first got into the Rift like 2 years ago, unfortunately. But yeah, I compared the two in a video. But like I said, that video is like old and buried.
What's been a great disillusionment that you've gotten over finding out something that it wasn't all cracked up to be?
Great disillusionment. A great disillusionment. Okay, great disillusionment that I got over. Okay. Most of the things related to, I want to say, this is going to be a sort of a dramatic answer, I suppose, but also underwhelming. It's certain things regarding maybe, I want to say just certain life experience things, mostly social experiences. Mostly because it's due to like a matrix complex, as I would call it, where brain chemicals are warping my perception of how things work. You sort of assume that everyone else who doesn't have these ailments sort of lives in this sort of like, not like social bliss, but they like lack something that makes them miserable. Obviously this doesn't, it's like an implicit thing. Like, intellectually I knew that was bullshit, but I never confronted it directly, so I had to almost relearn it in a sense, if that makes any sense. Yeah, that was sort of thing about that, but I got over that, because I'm like, okay, well actually that's a lot more reassuring, if anything. I try to impart that lesson on people I'm a confidant to varying degrees of success, because, they need to be receptive. If not, then they just go back into complaining and ranting in some call group. It's the same rant they give every week about how their life is miserable and no one can help me. And then they play
conversations are always fun.
Oh yeah, then they don the red and black clothes and the black makeup, and Crawling in My Skin is playing in the background about how I'm doomed, but I still want to rant to you about my problem anyway and ask you for help. Oh, well, I can give you this piece of advice. Fuck you, I can't be helped. I'm doomed. How dare you?
It's much worse when you're dating that person, Peter.
Oh, I know who you're taking shots at.
No, that's not current. But anyways.
I'm not going to drop names, dude.
Nope. We're moving right past that. I just getting a quick shot.
Move right along. Dun, dun, dun.
Who knows? I could be talking about. Yeah, no. I wanted to ask an uplifting one here. Have you ever been overwhelmed by good fortune?
Yes. What was it? Between November 2014 and February 2015, I think it's, yeah, I said this in a video once. It was like, I wouldn't say it's like the worst 4 months consecutively, but the worst 2 months of my life were November 2014 and February 2015. And in the case of February, it was just one night, but I had on and off depression between that, a slight good period in the middle, and then, yeah. But anyway, those were like horrible, that like, and it was, to wit, I almost killed myself twice, just to give you an idea how bad that was. Then comes March, and March was actually, from what I can remember, the best time of my life emotionally, because, and I'm not kidding, that was when I got really close to Sugary Violet.
Oh, nice.
The wondrous lifesaver that she is. Go buy her art. I just plugged her.
I'll make sure to include her in the description, or yeah, I'll put something in there.
Danke, meine Freunde.
Certainly. Oh, since you brought up German here, what's your favorite person you like to watch fail? Who gets all your Schadenfreude?
That's such an evil laugh.
That was a good one. That was legit. It wasn't over the top either.
Yeah. Someone I'd like to watch fail. Sometimes it depends on what way. Can I give you like a general answer rather than a specific answer? And this may seem like this may seem like something that might not thrill some of the people in this call.
Ooh, baby.
It's
Talk dirty to me.
well, it's not. Did
someone
like
just drop after you said that too?
GoldenFox is fading in and out.
Wait, there we go.
Oh my god. I was like, wow, just even hinting at it. That's delicious, Peter. You can't tease like that.
Well, here's the thing though. So I hope I don't drop the delivery on this, because I get the feeling I probably am. I just know that this has pissed off at least one person, but then I remember this person is past analysis, so yeah, I know. So I probably overhyped it just a little bit, and that's I don't hate moral realists, but sometimes I do like it when it blows up in their face. That's like, one of those things where it's like, you intellectually know, yeah, I probably don't hate this, but then there's that human nature part that compels you to have at least to hate something just because it balances out your emotions. Yeah, for me, it's moral realism, and I'm just like a haughty nihilist who just sits there and be like, haha, you're bound to morality, sucker.
Nice.
And then they'll like do something like that's like in blind moral obligation. And I'm not even talking about something major. It's like when they go into like is ought rants about how the world is and how it should be, and as though they actually know anything about its existence, about the existence of any kind of morality. I'm just sitting there be like, you are so cute. I don't say that to everyone, but you have to be a special kind of moralist for me to respect you for it, if you catch my drift.
This is kind of a goofy one. I don't know if you'll care one way or another. Are you looking forward to our new president, Donald Trump? All right, we'll pass that.
That silence was an answer.
Yeah, I know. All right, we can just edit that.
Oh
right
my
there.
God.
I keep seeing so much of it in the headlines, and I was like, oh, maybe Peter will have something witty to say. Nope, he shut down entirely. All right, never mind.
Oh no, he dropped. Donald Trump
yeah.
killed him.
Oh, baby.
He hired an assassin.
Let's double check. Do we even have anything left? Let's see. For example, secret.
Oh, there you are, Peter.
Yeah, I was going to say that. As a straight white man, I don't get to be on the bad end of his shit list, but at the same time, I have a few minority friends, and just say this at Bronycon, I was making out with a friend of mine who was a minority. He's an awesome guy, so I'd rather not.
All right.
So I'm not in favor of that kind of white supremacist. Thank you very much.
Could you speak a little?
Oh, right.
No,
It's essentially no. I wouldn't want him to be, and I know I'm gonna sound like such one of those like I'm gonna sound like one of those college students who knows nothing about the world, but they totally think they do because they sit in their armchairs, sitting in their echo chamber. They have a useless degree in some sociology of some kind, and then are upset that they no job finds that
Can I tell you
useful.
the mental image I have when you're describing that?
Who?
Do you remember past analysis when he was stroking his what was it, Sunset Shimmer plushie?
Yeah.
That's the image I have.
Well, it's funny because I got into an argument with him about the usefulness of sociology, and I agree that sociology is probably a necessary thing to study, but there's no denying that it is the softest science and it is the most taken advantage of because there's always politics mixed into it, and it's like you could just mix bullshit into there and claim it's sociology, and I'm just like, I'm a skeptic. I don't go into science for rhetoric, thank you.
I just imagine Pasta stroking the sunset shimmer polishy and like looking out the window at the sunset and being like, oh, sunset, no one understands the world but you and me.
I don't get the feeling
Honestly, when you guys are explaining that, the only thing of past eyes have in my mind is just an image of him stroking that, going, "My patient."
So my
That was the mental image he was going for.
My mental image is this, considering his, like, if I want to Flanderize his social beliefs, Sunset Shimmer has an equal mark on her ass. He's got an equal mark on him somewhere, and he's
Tramp stamp.
yeah. And then Sunset Shimmer Starlight Glimmer is just like, yes, in my request to recruit famous people, we have recruited Jeff Foxworthy.
Wow.
And then it's like, wait, he's not a Brony. Shit, I just got this guy. Even his own community does not remember him anymore. This is useless.
You know you're an analyst when...
Yeah, and anyway, to answer your question, the funny part of that answer is I like Bernie Sanders just because he seems to be the most competent, because I don't like Trump because he seems to switch between racism and covering his ass, and then there's Hillary Clinton, whose entire platform seems to be I'm a woman.
I kind of wanted. There's one reason it's terrible. I'd like to see Donald Trump win. I'd like to point to all the Illuminati people and going, see, there isn't some intelligent, greater thing running the country. This moron's in charge. There's no way some highly intelligent secret society looked at Donald Trump and said, this is a low-profile candidate we could manipulate.
Yeah, but then they're going to probably look at any picture of him when his toupee is like blowing in the wind and find a triangle somewhere and be like, they know!
No, he'll just come up and the Illuminati eye is behind him, and he's like, I got rid of the immigrants. They're the only ones who could have saved you from my Illuminati conspiracy theory. I was sent here to make you think I was stupid, but now the Illuminati rules. And then a triangle forms around his eye, and then Mexico just blows up. He's like, I've gotten rid of the problems of America. And then everyone else is, of course, distraught because, the country is gone. But then Donald Trump is like, I have fooled you all. Now it's time to evoke white supremacy on all of you.
You truly are an Evil
Do you
bastard.
think Jerry Pete will notice me now for all the wrong reasons? I never asked for it, but still.
I can't imagine that he still watches this channel. The only thing I think he looks over every once in a while is to see if he's probably still the top podcast. Because if you look at his OC, that's a crown on the neck chain.
Well, he needs
It's
something.
the exact
He
crown
claims-
from the podcast.
Well, I mean, he claimed he needs something because he's kind of like canned cream. He allegedly, air quotes, has tens of thousands of subs, and yet no one knows about him or talks about him.
Well, Peter, I can't follow you on that because he's coming on in 3 weeks.
Okay, Anthony, I'll acknowledge you can pull a Donald Trump and cover your ass.
What?
But
He might be a terribly delightful, entertaining individual. Here, let me cite somebody that I remember hating their content until I got a chance to talk to them. I hated Saberspark until I had him in a podcast. And I was like, this guy's freaking hysterical. I better not say he's so much better than his content.
well, if you would allow me to pull something similar but not the same. Like, for instance, I had nothing against Tommy Oliver and Digi. When Give and Take said that to those fuckers in the Rift who were all just hating on him for no reason, you could tell because these people were kind of sheep people, and and then Gibbon like sticks up for him. Yeah, I had nothing against Digi. I thought the reaction to him that made him leave the fandom was fucking terrible. But then I go and do I have a Limbo cast with Tommy Oliver. I'm in the CR pub crawl with Digi, and they're pretty awesome dudes.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Like Tom. I think I've said this to people before. I'd go to Tommy Oliver if I wanted a discussion, but I'd go to Digi if I wanted a story. Because Digi, like, I remember me and you were in this pub crawl. He talked about just how he had like a really good and bad day at the same time. Because it was one of like, yeah, and he's just talking about some mundane shit that's going on in his life, and I'm totally invested in this story.
Were you there for when he was talking about how he was starving all day and his friends kept jerking around when he was trying to go get ramen and he wound up playing laser?
Yeah, it was that story.
Oh god, that was amazing.
That was an amazing story, but like I said, that's the most basic story you can think of, and he's actually really good at telling that story. So that's why I say he's a pretty awesome dude if you're just laid back enough.
Wait,
and you just
I want to point this out to you. Isn't that the exact storytelling kind of tactic that Pass Analysis bitches and whines about, yet that's his senpai?
Oh, yes it is.
That's
Please.
We are just wailing on Pasta's junk today. Holy shit.
Yeah. And not in the same way that I would totally wail on, like, I don't know, cider barreled or turquoise flashes junk. I mean, sorry.
Well, I didn't write out any questions to wail on Pasta. I forgot you.
Are we wailing
Oh,
on him
please,
so
Pass.
much his tomato
I'm
sauce
sure-
blood is everywhere?
Well, I'm
Wait,
sure
what?
Pass can take a joke. If not, then, see, because I think of everything, either he can take a joke or he can, and it will be hilarious. See, I've thought of everything.
Certainly.
There's so much sauce here, I swear.
Yeah.
Oh, I leave sauce everywhere.
Yeah.
Yours is an Alfredo sauce.
Mine is a really salty Alfredo. Wear it with honor.
It's sad because me and Brett are going to Olive Garden tomorrow. It's like, oh, we're going to see all that
Olive Garden.
Alfredo.
You're going to Olive Garden, then you'll recreate a recipe if you're going to be talking about Alfredo sauce, but that's beside it.
All right. I only
Oh,
have
come on,
one-
you two are going out. It's not unfair to make that joke.
all right.
No, it's not.
All right, well, since I do only have one question left here, I was going to skip it, but since we went that way. Peter, do you believe in true love? Ooh, there's
Yeah, I believe it can happen.
Okay, no, that's fine. He's like, oh yeah, that's right. My girlfriend might listen to this.
No, here's the funny thing is that my girlfriend's the one who convinced me. Like, she is just as fucked up, intelligent, and all that other stuff that I am. Like, seriously, I got a hold of someone
that
who was
she's ideal.
in quite a few ways, yeah, because she fits so well that I would almost think I need like 4 people who specialize in just like, say it was 4 things. I would almost thought I would need like 4 people who just specialize in one thing, but she somehow specializes in all 4 of the things.
Nice.
Oh, that's sweet.
And it just like fits in. I'm like, this is almost like I would have thought it would have been like impossible, but then it's like, oh nope, she's right there. Oh, sweet, such a person exists. And on top of that, they approached me first, and it just happened to fit together perfectly. So I'm like, fucking nice. However, I will say this: I am polyamorous. I am just saying.
What's polyamorous?
You can love more than one person at the same time.
Yeah.
Yes.
I had to censor myself just now.
Well, here's the thing: is like that's the interesting thing about being a nihilist occultist is that you aren't bound by morality, and you aren't bound to one lover.
Oh, when you actually said that, I went specifically to a specific religious morality that I didn't want to cite right there and get out of line.
Let me guess: would Sweetie Bloom and Anthony C take offense?
No. Well,
Oh,
very
right.
specific
We're talking
religious
about
creed.
Dr. Wolf and Puzzle here.
I wasn't gonna say it. I was
Oh,
like,
I could say
I went
I
to
could say something
morality.
really-
Yeah, you said counter morality, and I went
If I
straight to.
really want to be mean, I could say something right now, but
I would
no,
never dream of that.
feeling Puzzle would be able to take this joke. I don't know if Dr. Wolf would, but at the same time, Dr. Wolf doesn't watch this channel, I'm sure.
Oh, I'd imagine. I can't imagine why.
But if you want to talk about partners and morality, there is Catholicism, but if you can't handle a real religion, there's always Mormonism.
Oh, Peter.
And don't worry, Puzzle, I'm just joking.
I'm gonna edit
But
the
I'm
joke
Tish.
No, I'll leave it in. And on that note, I think that we've gotten everything we need.
We've gotten every offense in the book.
Oh, geez.
Every offense in the book. I'm going to get angry messages from Puzzle and Sweetie Bloom. This is going to be a
way
big thing.
more. It's
If
gonna
I
be
knew
big.
how this podcast would go, I would have redrawn you on the throne like throwing fruit at everybody else dressed up like court jesters.
I'm just
Oh, I would have so loved that.
see the only mental image I got for an alternate title card is that we're all just sitting here with Peter in the middle, and we're just watching a giant fire burn more and more and more, and you see the silhouettes of people screaming in agony,
I am
But
going
actually-
to rip
I
that
would
off
actually
for
just
somebody.
have-
screaming in edginess.
And
Exactly.
with that
I
mental
would
image, I
actually-
could just
if I could-
imagine.
I would actually just have you guys all like laying in the king's chamber. I'm wearing the crown, of course, and let's just say you all get to either take a hole. You all get to take a hole, and my horn is
Jesus.
piercing the remainder. That's what I would say. Oh wait, yeah, everyone takes a hole. However, there's one part that is an inverted hole, which will be taken by someone's mouth. So I'll put it in your hole, but that's beside the point.
All right, thank you. All right, I think we've definitely got to our end here.
This ended on a great note.
Yeah, it did.
Yep.
I'm probably going to cut out the